So welcome to our coaches meetings for November. This is primarily going to be for the coaches that are moving on from qualifiers to the regionals. We're going to have some items that we're going to go over regarding regionals. And I believe at the end of the meeting, we were going to send an email out for the registration link for the regionals. You will not receive that link in this meeting, just FYI. That will come in an email similar to the way it came to register for QTs. So just check your inboxes for that email when we're done with this meeting, and we'll go from there. Not sure where Paul went, but if you have received the feedback email to for feedback on the QTs that you attended, please fill those out. They are anonymous. We don't record your email or who submitted them. Also be a little nice like don't be obviously give us the truth if whatever happened, but we are all volunteers, so with if something is bad and something bad did happen to the team, please let us know. But we all are human and we make mistakes, so we just need to be aware of them so that when we come again full circle next season, we let the tournaments know, hey, this is something that needs improvement, or hey, you know what, if it's good feedback, we want good feedback too. If you just saw someone who is a rock star and you want to give them that kudos or pat on the back, we welcome that kind of information as well. And because that lets us know, okay, you guys were really great in this, and then you need to work on something else. Or if it's something that we've done on behalf of the tournament, then something we need to work on at a higher level. And we can go from there and make our region better, which is we strive
And
to
that's
do.
the only way we can make it better is through your
It's
feedback.
through feedback, correct.
Hopefully judging got better this year. That you all feel like, hopefully everybody felt that judging was better and that you were able to get your full time in the judging room or close to that time. I know some of the judging rooms that I sat in, it was tough because those kids, they busted out their projects, their core values, and their robot design presentation like 7 minutes. And then to fill that time, it was a little challenging, but I helped them. They worked through it, and we were able to get through as close to 30 minutes with those teams. So hopefully everybody else felt like they did. If you want to share any feedback, you're welcome to do that too now. We would love to hear some feedback if you have any. If not, we can
I also threw the feedback form in the chat. So if
Okay.
you have access to the chat, go ahead and fill that out. And that way we can collect that bit of data. And then let's see.
Max has his hand raised.
Sure, Max, what's up?
Yeah.
You were
I think you're
muted.
muted, Max, because we can't hear you.
Is better?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my headphones were acting up.
Oh,
Did
no
you
worries.
say we could provide a little bit of feedback or ask questions?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
if I may,
Yep.
let me first remove my raised hand. So amazing tournament. Thanks to all volunteers, of course. One piece of feedback, and I already filled out the form that
Okay.
I regret not adding, was after the judgment session, it seemed like the time for the next robot round was a little too short. And especially I felt like for one of the two teams where it was a little bit later, closer to lunchtime, they weren't necessarily able to shift and kind of reset their focus. So I was wondering, if I remember correctly, it was 10 minutes after judging session straight into the next round. And it felt like potentially not enough time. I was wondering if it could be a little bit more in the future.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can take. It depends really a lot on the number of teams at events, the starting time, the ending time. But yeah, it's definitely something that we'll definitely, take into consideration, Max, is making sure that there is some time in between more time in between. But again, it just, it depends on the number of teams at events, the number, of judging, where they fall on the table, the judging room, and table schedule. But yeah, definitely, we will definitely keep that into consideration. Thank you for that feedback.
Thank you.
Let's see, we've got some things in the chat. Is the registration process the same as for the qualifiers? So yes, you will receive an email that has the form link. It is the same form link. There are a few options that are going to be a little different because it's regarding the regionals. We do ask that whatever region you sign up for, that's the region you're going to. We filled up really quick this year with the qualifiers, and we feel like that's going to happen at the regionals as well. We can't guarantee any switches anymore. I know we used to do it in the past and it was something that we were able to do, but because of how large we are becoming, we can't do switches. It's a lot of extra work on that. And it's so verify with your teams that that's where they want to go and the day they want to go on.
Yeah.
And then if you guys
Check
have
the
your hands
holiday
up,
schedules, check
yes,
everything.
check everything, sports, holidays, any family commitments, check with all the kids, all your parents, and anyone that is involved on your team. Also with the people that have their hands up, put your stuff in the chat because we're gonna go through the chat one by one. That way we can get the things. Yes, Paul.
One thing, the link will actually be different for the form. It's a different form, so it's not the same form. And that will be sent out following this meeting, assuming I could get back onto my computer.
Oh, okay. So I would have wondered where you went.
Yeah, my computer crashed, so
Oh, no.
I'm trying to get back onto it right now.
Okay, perfect. And then Paul, are you planning on sending it via email, correct?
Via email
To the coach that's listed on.
The coach that was listed on the QT form, that's who it's going to go to.
Yep.
All right. And then, okay, and that's just a blurb. Will Spring Showdown be discussed at all this meeting? Not necessarily. Spring Showdown is an off-season event that we will host sometime next spring. It looks like the end of April, I think, if I remember off the top of my head, or early May. I don't know, Paul.
I think it's the first weekend in May.
Okay.
And all I will say about it is the information will start coming out in December.
Perfect. So watch your emails for that. On the event hub, when will the judges' feedback be available for QT teams? They can prepare for the regionals. That should have been sent out already by today. If it hasn't for your region or you haven't received it, email your tournament director first. And if your tournament director is still confused as to what to do, they can reach out to us. A lot of the times this is a tournament director thing that they can quickly just kind of resend the email to you guys. And we kind of want to give them that power to do so. But if it's still not working out, you can reach out to us after that. I listed the feedback form. Unofficial response, we got ours in a few days after the QT this time. In the past, we got it in about a week. Okay. We were told that we qualified to the regionals unofficially, but we have not received the official confirmation that we were told that we would receive. Is there a way to confirm we did?
There is no, the only confirmation was from the tournament director. Should have announced who was moving on to the regionals. The only way you'll know from us is if you get the form sent to you tonight, because that form will only go out to the teams that we were told were advancing to the next level.
Awesome. I have a similar situation as Giselle. We are still waiting for specific judging scores for Innovation Project. We did receive for robot design, core values, and judging feedback. Interesting that you only got 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, because they're all on one form. It's all
Yeah.
all on one.
Scroll, yeah,
form.
scroll again and see if you just skipped over it, because I think it's core values, project, then robot design on that thing.
It's
Yeah.
it's project, then robot design, and then all of the comments for all three at the bottom, but it's one
Right.
page.
I was
Yeah.
thinking last year's. Thank you, Jared. Okay, our QT had 28. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. That was me, and I actually did reach out to Paul. Specifically for some reason on Event Hub, those particular scores for the innovation project were not showing up, even though I think Paul confirmed that it was submitted. So I mean, I can follow up with the tournament director, but maybe it's something with Hub. I don't know.
You know, I was looking more into that as well. They were submitted, everything was submitted. My fear is that two people tried writing it once onto the rubric and it canceled out the scores from the project. So I'm gonna reach out to the event manager as well and see what we can do about that. Because I did see that on a few rubrics, which
Yep.
usually indicates two people doing it. It's a
Yeah.
glitch that we're trying to fix.
Okay, so we'll see what we can do, Lily. Okay. Our QT had 28 teams and 19 advanced. What's the typical regional tournament team count and what percent will advance? Thank you. So your regionals will be up until 40, there are 40 teams per regional, and we only have 50 spots at championship. So Paul, what's the math of, we have 10 regionals this year.
5 teams from each regional will move on to championships.
Correct. And it's the 5 most well-rounded teams,
Yes.
not the 5 teams that get the awards, which usually work out that way at the regional level. So, but that it doesn't translate one for one. QT hosted by San Diego was exceptionally well run, should be a model for tournaments. Thank you. If the regions grow too large, we could explore breaking San Diego into its own region like FTC and FRC. We used to be separate regions, but because it's a lot for one person to do, even if it's split up, you wouldn't get the same experience as you're getting now. So there's pros and cons. At regionals, around 10% will advance, right? You mean 10% among the ones who advance to regionals, not 10% of the entire group. It's 5 teams out of the 40 teams that will be there. It's just easier to say it that way. If there is a lot of skewing where there's only 20 in one regional, which we don't suspect there will be, that regional will get 5. It'll get a smaller subset number, but I don't foresee that happening. Will the form take into consideration groups that have explore teams and challenge teams? I need to
Yes.
supervise both and would like to go to one event together. Yes,
Yes,
we-
it will. You will actually fill out one form with both teams or with all your teams on it. You could put up to 8 teams onto one form. So if you have more than 8 challenge and explore teams, then you will have to do a second form, but it was designed so you could get to the same event.
Yeah, that was one feedback item we got last year and we made changes for this year. So feedback is important. We observed huge judging room to judging room scoring difference. We were speculating there's judge bias since all the teams in a room got way below average ranking on innovation and core values, but another room scores were much higher. I'm wondering how to make sure each judge has consistent criteria across the room. So I'm glad you brought this up because the rubric scores don't translate to judging ranking scores, which is why we don't share judges' scores. So we have the judges rank the teams by ranks, and then they talk about those teams, and then they rank those teams across rooms and based off of the judging that they're hearing and the different things that are coming out, and they deliberate. So it's not the rubric score per se that is the final say on where your team lands in the ranking for that category. The judges do communicate and say, hey, we saw this team do this, 5 amazing things. And then another judge says, hey, the teams in my room did those 5 amazing things, but they did these 5 other more. So we think they're a lot higher than that other team. And so that's how they deliberate and they calibrate the rubrics. So that's our way, or our region's way of handling that, because it's quite difficult to calibrate judges that have done it for 12 years, and then there's judges that have done it for the first time. And so try to get those on the same level playing field. The best way is for them to deliberate during award selection after they've done the work of judging. Again, if you are super confused as to what that looks like and you want to know more, come volunteer. We are open as long as your team is not physically competing in that tournament. We'd love to have you there. You can see how we do it behind the scenes. And you will get better insight as to what's done the way it's done and how we handle certain obstacles like that.
Sarah, can I add a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
So when we train the judges, one of the things that we tell them is that the rubric is a tool for feedback for the teams. It's not a tool for evaluating the teams against each other. So I would really recommend, if you have more than one team, that you are not looking at the two side by side, but just look at each holistically. So you can look at one and say your higher numbers are the areas where the judges in that room thought the team was stronger, and the lower numbers are the areas where the judges thought the team was weaker. And you can take that and look at it as one document for the team. The judges are explicitly not allowed to be using those rubrics to try to compare teams as we're figuring out the rankings. So I really would recommend that you do the same. And like Sarah said, everything is a discussion amongst the judges. So it's really, that's the rubric is a tool for feedback, and that is all the rubric is.
Perfectly said. Thanks, Jared. Is there a way to see our rank in the innovation, robot, or core values? No, unfortunately not, due to what we had just discussed. We have not received the official word on teams that were advancing to regionals. Team numbers weren't read out from Sunday's Mission Bay event. Is there some way we can find that? I believe we have a team 2 registered, but nothing official. If you were given the advancement, you'll receive an email tonight from Paul. And I guess that's one way to find out if you've advanced or not. If you don't get an email and you're still wondering, you're more than welcome to email us and find out if you're afraid that you've missed it. And we can go from there. Will we be able to use any extra money in our dashboard from the Qualcomm grant for registration for the regional tournament? Will the Qualcomm grant cover any of the registration? That Qualcomm money in your first dashboard cannot be used for any event registration. In your first dashboard, that grant money can only be used in that first dashboard ecosystem. So anything that is registering for first the registration, which you've probably already done, or buying a kit or the field kit, which you can only get one of the field kit. That all is through that first dashboard ecosystem. It does not cover any event registration, unfortunately. I thought it was rough that parents were not able to see or at least hear the judging session. Extremely happy with La Casa Cana High School venue. So that was the San Diego event. The reason why we limit it to 2 adults in the room is because not every venue has a big enough room for all of the aunties and uncles to come watch, the kids present. And so we try to do that, but we do have at least 1 adult in there due to youth protection policy that we like to enforce and make sure that everyone is safe. And we've got leadership too deep in lots of places. So that's the reason why we have adults in the room. But if you want your kids to present to your parents beforehand, the night before, that's great practice for them. You know, do a parent night or, you know, back to school robot night and have the kids all come out to the garage and, you know, the kids can do a presentation for them there. And it'll be a kind of a cool thing, you know, for the kids to have that, you know, confidence build up because it's hard to present to your parents because you don't want to mess up. So it gives them practice and it's good practice. Is there an easier way to print the judging rubrics or do we have to screenshot over and over to print? You can right click and print the whole page in your browser window. If you open it up in Chrome, you can print the whole page and it just prints the whole URL
It
page on
doesn't.
however many pages. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, it leaves out a ton. Yeah, it leaves out a bunch. I tried to do it that way. Or
Okay.
whatever. I tried to even do like each little tab down to see if you could just print out that one, but it leaves out a bunch for the top and the bottom. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I just went through this for my own team. It unfortunately this year is not as possible. The old rubric printed a little more nicely. Hopefully that will be something that first will get fixed for us in the
That
future.
would be a good feedback item for us to take back up there.
Yes.
Was not aware of that this year. Unfortunately for right now, you'll have to do the screenshot printing. If you want to print it out. Apologies on that. I don't think so. Oh, okay. FLL will have it posted if you okay. I had difficulty managing parent expectations because they asked to stay with the kids but not in the pit area. Next time, could we ask them to drop off the kids and return for prize distribution instead? However you guys handle your parents is how you guys have the ability to handle your parents. If you want to blame it on the tournament director, blame it on the tournament director. I'm just kidding. Just if the parents are too overly involved and you need space, we always tell coaches to, hey, there's a parent hangout area, the lawn over there, have them bring a canopy, have them put some chairs set out over there, and then they can join the team when it's award time. Some parents come in and watch the teams compete and they just stay in the bleacher area and or the robot game viewing area. Or yeah, and you know, they can hang out and be on campus. It does help the kids a lot more when they're not hovering because some kids it makes them anxious because their parents are constantly hovering. If you need examples on how to manage that expectation, you can reach out to us and we can give you some helpful tidbits of what has helped other teams. Or you can tell your coaches, hey, you know, it'd be better if you just drop, you know, Susie and John off and come back at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock and watch the award ceremonies. If that doesn't work, then, you know, there's other ways that you can mitigate. You can have them be like, hey, it'd be great if you could just go get lunch for us, because then, you know, give them something to do, give them a job. That usually makes them feel important. So yeah, there's some ideas off the top. But there's a specific thing you can email us. I was able to see the judges' feedback, but couldn't figure out how to download it. Is there a way to do that? We just covered it in Heather's question. You're gonna have to open it up and screenshot it and then add it to like a Word document or something and print it from there. Someone gave a Firefox hint. It's not the feedback form. Okay, let me figure out what that is. Sorry. Too many forms open up in my window. I will get the feedback form shortly. Or Paul, if you want to grab the feedback form.
Yeah, for coaches to give feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
We have only received the rubrics from the QT, but not the judges' feedback. Great job and think about. Heather, let us know what QT that's from, because if they didn't fill it out, you're not going to get anything, but they should have filled that out.
Could that
That's-
be maybe the printing issue? That it hadn't scrolled down to the feedback area?
So according to, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm from the qualifier at, oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Sorry, Bosco Tech.
Okay.
and I have 2 teams, and so I can expand and I can see all of the innovation project rubric scores or numbers, and then also for robot design. But then if I expand that blue stripe, I push the arrow and it says judges feedback. They're just empty boxes for the like typed personalized comments.
That sounds like it might be one of those cases of 2 people editing at once again. So hopefully your tournament director can track those down.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out to him.
Okay. Sorry, I just lost my spot.
The next question was someone who said that they had the same issue with no innovation project scores. So again, it was probably 2 people typing at once. Reach out to your tournament director, see if they are able to track that down from the judge. And if you don't get anywhere with that, Kathy, Paul, and Sarah's email inboxes await.
Yes. Okay. 9 screen grabs, then stitched together as PDF. Okay. I just wanted to ask more question about Spring Showdown. Our materials shipped so late we couldn't do any of the qualifying events, so we are looking to prepare for Spring Showdown instead. Can I ask if the Spring Showdown will have the same missions as Submerged?
So the models will be the same as Submerged. We'll use all the models, but it will be a brand new mat and a new theme. So, but keep practicing on the Submerged mat until that comes out, because the more practice you get with that, the better you're going to be for Spring Showdown this year.
And then regarding the emails and not getting responses, we've been swamped the last 2 weeks. We apologize. We've been trying to get to the ones that are a little bit more under fire because it's an immediate need, and Spring Showdown is not in our brain set right now. So apologies on that, but yeah, there's been a lot going on the past 2 weeks. For teams that didn't qualify, do they get access to the rubrics or feedbacks from judges? Yes, you absolutely do. And you are also able to participate in Spring Showdown, which is happening next spring, and more than welcome to participate again in that capacity. Thank you very much for the support. You're welcome. I agree the Event Hub is not print friendly when trying to print rubrics. There's some way we can make this more print friendly. We did kind of hit on that last year with Event Hub. They didn't do anything this year about that, I suppose. Hopefully we'll give that feedback again, and hopefully it's a little bit more on their radar. But as of right now, it is what it is. It's kind of out of our control. All right, this is what I did. Okay, screenshots. There's another AI assistant blurb. Well, tonight's registration email to advancing teams mentioned the team number and or team name. I'm lead on 2 teams and don't want to send the wrong one.
No, it will not, because there's close to 400 teams that are advancing, and so there's no way to put all those in there. If you don't remember, don't know, I guess you can send us an email to check on which one it is. Just make sure you list your teams so we can check on the numbers, because that's all we have, our team numbers that are advancing. But I don't want to send a list of 400 numbers to everybody.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Love the location at Francis Parker's campus this year. The parents could sit in the stands and see their students perform. Felt more inclusive, like the old days. Awesome. When will we get to know our assigned location for the regional tournament once we submitted our preference? You won't be submitting your preference. You'll be selecting one regional venue and date. And if you are able to select it on the form, that's the date you get. If you are not able to select it, it's at capacity and is no longer taking any extra teams. So then you have to go find another venue and date that works for you. We
So
do
is it
only
then
have two.
first come, first serve?
It is first come, first serve. It's always been first come, first serve. We just used to do all of that work on the back end, and now we have a program that does it for us, because that was a lot of work even between the three of us to consolidate all of that information. So it's first come, first serve.
So what time does it open?
We're
The
gonna send
regist-
out the, go ahead.
It will, as soon as this meeting is over, an email will go out to all the qualifying teams and to all of our Explore teams, that it's open. So you'll get the link and you'll go for it.
For the judging, we noticed that the judges started asking a few Q&A first and not let the kids present their project and then ask them Q&A. Is that a new process this year? Andrew L, please let us know what QT that was at, because that's not what that was not the direction that was given. And so that we can let that tournament know.
I noticed that on the Warner and also Diamond Bar High. I so
Okay.
happened to be on both of them, and they have the same style. So I wonder if that was the new style. The kids were a little thrown off. So one of the kids interrupted. So like, excuse me, can we have our innovation project? But the other one, it seems that they start asking a lot of questions.
Okay, yeah, no, that's not the direction we had gave, so we will let Warner and you said Diamond Bar?
Yeah.
All right. Make a note of that. Okay, thank you for letting us know. Deliberation of teams advancing at RQT, the top 60% teams who advanced were exactly the same as the top 60% of the robot game. Is that unusual? I'm a rookie coach, so I wasn't sure. MT, let us know what QT that was. Well, sometimes it works out that way, where oddly enough, the top 60% are the top 60% robot game. Sometimes it's not, but the robot game is only 25% of the score. So let us know, and then we can keep an eye on that. And if that wasn't the case, then we can use that as a teaching moment for that QT.
It's definitely not unheard of, though. Sometimes the math just works out like
It
that.
just works out that way.
Yeah, I'm a nerd and look at all of this stuff after events, and like that happens, I think, a lot more than the teams that are good tend to be really good all around. And so we often see a lot of overlap there, even though that's not what's making the determination.
It's usually about 75% of the time that it lines up that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, not unusual. Hi Paul, we sent you 2 emails. Can you respond? One came from Joyce, the other from our principal Jeff. Oh, that was the Spring Showdown questions.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the expectation for innovation project during regionals? How will it be sorted, evaluated? Will the rubric change? I'm gonna hand this one off to Jared.
So our intention is that the judging stays the same the entire time that you're in Southern California. So it should be the same at your qualifier as it will be at your regional, as it will be at the championship. The caveat being that, as you've probably seen from this meeting, judges are different event to event and even room to room, so it could vary a little bit. But expect the same 5-minute presentation followed by 5-minute Q&A, and it will be evaluated on the same rubric. And just keep in mind that you're competing against the other top teams from across the region now. So what might have earned you a 3 or 4 at a qualifying tournament might not still earn a 3 or 4 at a regional, just because the bar has been raised a little bit. But it's all the same criteria.
What are score weightage for innovation project, core values of robot games respectively? So there's actually a 4th category, which is robot design, and they're equally weighted. So for 25% for core values, 25% innovation project, 25% robot design, and 25% for the robot game score or ranking, because we do everything by ranks. Is the regional tournament first come, first serve? Yes.
Yep.
You get into the one you sign up for. So sign up for the one you really want to go to, because switching is probably going to be, I'm going to say it's not going to be possible. How much is regionals registration? It's going to be 175.
It's Sarah, it's because of the PayPal fees, it's 180
Oh.
for challenge, but that includes the fee, and 80 for explore.
If they pay by Zelle, it's 175. right?
175 if they go that way.
Okay. Warner Middle School permitted only one adult in the judging room at the QT. Our team has 2 coaches. Will 2 adults be permitted in the judging room at the Warner Regional Tournament? We will reach out to Warner and let them know that there should be at least 2, or at max 2,
Max
but at
2.
least 1. But yeah, we'll try to rectify that. Are only 2 coaches allowed in the judging room, or can there be 1 coach and 1 parent? It's 2 adults, technically. We prefer that one of them is a coach. It doesn't have to be, but they have to be 2 parents that are associated with the team, or 2 adults. We try not to, I mean, if you want it to be 2 parents and the coach doesn't want to be in there, that's fine too. But we do prefer the coach being in there because they're background checked and stuff like that. So, if you try to print the rubrics in Chrome, it offers 3 pages of the same first bit over and over again. Oh, good to know. Thank you. That's not helpful to print out. Will there ever be separate divisions for age groups? For example, all 4th grade division, it seems unfair for new 4th grade team competing a veteran 8th grade team. So this has been a popular topic or point of discussion. The reason why we don't right now have them in divisions is because there are 4th graders and there are rookie and they are better than veteran 8th graders. We don't want to redshirt them or hold them back. And vice versa. There are some 8th grade teams that it's their first year and they're kind of dipping their feet in the water, and they are actually competing at a 4th grade level because that's just where they're at. I know it's a big age group and it's hard to compare, little 4th graders to, these almost well, they are teenagers at 8th grade, but these 8th graders, there's, quite a big gap, but there's a lot of variation in, some 8th graders are not at the level of advanced 8th graders that have been doing it for a long time. And so it's an even playing field. And the 4th graders that are their first year, they learn a lot at these competitions because they see what is there at a more complicated level. Therefore, it actually gives them a bigger learning experience and going, oh, I can do that too, because I saw how they did it. And so there's good and bad with it, because if we separate them, then the little ones don't really see what's on the horizon. And usually what the regions that do have them separated, if you're not in the older kid group, you don't get advanced to any of the international stuff or anything past championships, because the championships is reserved for that older set of kids. So pros and cons. Could the judges record the judging session or live stream it so parents can watch from afar? We don't allow recording in the judging sessions anymore due to some issues that we've had in the past, and therefore we don't allow streaming either. To print the judge feedback, you can select the text and print that selection. Okay, good to know. What competition comes after the regionals? It's the championship, and it's held in January of 2025. It is January
19th.
19th. It's the Sunday before Martin Luther King Day, and it's going to be held at Capo Valley High School, which is in San Juan Capistrano. There's the form that Paul graciously put in there because I put the wrong one in. Thank you. One of our teams really enjoyed their judges, but when we got the judging rubric, many lines were blank. Don't know if that was a glitch or just got missed. I'm gonna say it was probably the glitch, because we've been pretty hard on our judge advisors of submitting empty things, and I don't think it will let you submit now if there's nothing in it.
Yeah, I don't
So
think it lets you close it if not everything is, like,
Filled out.
close the tournament if it's not
Mhm.
all.
It shouldn't.
So, we will try to figure out what's going on with that. Our team advanced based on core values, but not based on table performance. We were 6 from the bottom. Maybe it was simply at your site, the all-around scores are in line with the table score. Oh, okay. Can someone
Wait,
share
can I just
what?
address that one? I know it was a
Yes.
statement, but your team advanced from a combination of all 4 categories still. So you might think that your core values were your strong point, and that may be true. But the teams did have to be well-rounded in all of the areas there. So they could have had a really solid robot design, even if the score didn't work out, and/or a really solid project.
Can someone share where the rubric scores are posted? Rookie coach, should I register to Event Hub? I did not receive any email from the coach director. You should probably register with Event Hub. You probably got an email in your inbox to register and you had 72 hours to confirm that registration. So you will need to ask your tournament director to resend that invitation out to you. That's probably why you haven't received an email yet, but
And just a reminder, some people have been registering for events using an email that is not the same as the one they use for their First Inspires dashboard. It has to be the same because it's tied to the YPP. And if you haven't passed YPP with that email address, it won't let us put your name in the system. So there are cases where there are coaches that we could not put into the hub because they're using an email address that's not consistent with their dashboard. So please, when you're ready, if you're registering for a regional, make sure you're using that email that goes along with your dashboard and nothing else. Otherwise, we won't be able to get you in the hub again.
perfect.
Sorry. Yeah. So we are the first year this time, and I'm not sure how to access the hub. You guys are mentioning about the hub where you can see our feedback. So we haven't received any feedback. We were told we are advanced, but we are still waiting for the complete feedback, feedback on the project and everything. So to prepare for the qualifier, I was thinking that you get today night, but I'm not sure I'm wrong or I'm missing something.
So you should have gotten an email from your tournament director that's not via the Event Hub as an introduction email, whoever the head coach is. And you can respond to that tournament director and ask them to resend the invitation to whoever's on that. You might be one of those candidates that Paul just said that you used the wrong email or that you didn't have on your first dashboard. And when that doesn't match up, you don't get registered into the system properly. So reach out to your tournament director and see if they can resend that invitation and verify that the email that you had provided for that matches up to be the same email that's in your first dashboard.
So who is the event director? Wherever the went the qualifying round, the person who was handling that is the director.
The director was the person who was hosting your qualifier.
Oh, the person. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I have one more question on the project. So this is the first year, so I'm just asking these questions. Could be basic. Sorry about that. So our team prepared the project. I know that we are doing a challenge which is submerged, which is based on the ocean, right? But we made a project on water reservoir, how to preserve the water and all that kind. So is that correct concept we followed, or the concept of the project should be only based on the ocean?
So we don't disqualify projects based on them meeting or not meeting the criteria that first lays out, but we ask that the team does their best job to explain to the judges how it meets that criteria. And this year, the problem that was laid out was a problem that is faced by people who explore the oceans. So I would say that the team should be able to draw a connection for how their project is related to people exploring the oceans. there is a month between now and the regional tournaments. So if your team is advancing, there's kind of plenty of time to shift that direction if you'd like. But if your project is not doing that and you've gone really far in it, you won't be disqualified for not meeting that criteria, but a team that meets it really well will probably rank above.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is it possible to change the name of our team? If so, how? So if you want to change your name, you need to do it through the tournament director that's hosting the event, because
Sarah,
ahead.
actually, right now, you can actually do it when you register your team for the regionals. On the form, put the name you want. Once you've turned in the registration, if you want to change it, then what Sarah was saying, contact your tournament director. But right now, if you want to change it, enter that name on the registration form, and it will be that name attached to your team.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any way the regional tournament coordinator could provide where the team pits can be set up, practice tables available provided by the host, so it can help the coaches decide which location is best fit for the team? So usually you get assigned a table in the pit area set up. You don't just get to set up wherever. And then the practice tables are set up in a designated location. So it's not willy-nilly where you get to set up. It's usually, this is your spot, this is your spot. Okay.
Sarah, I think that question might be asking about like additional space, like events that let you set up more space outside or in a hallway or something like that, which a lot of events do allow, but no, we don't have a list of which events allow that. So that's just kind of, if you know the site, but I wouldn't pick your registration based on that, because also like a lot of events plan to let you set stuff up outside and then it could rain that weekend. So really I would pick what's geographically convenient for you with a good date over the layout.
And also a site that had a lot of room for that at a qualifying tournament may not have that much room at a regional when there's 40 teams instead of 24.
Yeah, there's almost twice as many teams. If we upload our presentation material pre-judging on the portal, does this have an effect on our scoring? Actually, don't do that. That's a reminiscent thing from COVID. This nobody looks at those videos. So don't upload any presentations into the portal, please. First is working on iterating the COVID generation out of the event portal, hopefully soon. We hope to know this before register. Okay. The meeting is recorded, so you guys, and then I will try to get it up on YouTube as quickly as possible. In our case, there was a mistake at the final announcement at the closing ceremony. Later, when we followed up with the judges and volunteers, they confirmed we were 4th in the competition, but we wonder if we qualified for any award, but not announced similarly.
I can answer that. The awards for events are posted in the Event Hub. If you go over to the tab that says, I think it's called awards, but I'll tell you for sure in a second. And it gives the list of what kind of the final awards were that were entered. So if you want to check, that would be the way. I obviously closed my Event Hub tab, but it either says awards or results, something like that.
Yeah. We both have challenge and explore teams. You will be able to register for both of them tonight. After the end of this meeting, you will receive an email. We are not sending the link out in this meeting. Camarillo was run really well and it was a lot of fun. That's good. Can we also confirm that only the Ventura and La Cañada locations will not have both explore and challenge together?
Well, okay, so only the Saturday La Cañada is not having explore right now. Every other regional will have explore. The only thing I will say is that if we don't get, like if only 2 or 3 teams sign up for explore at a location, we will not run a festival there and we'll ask them to move to another location.
Yeah, we've run two team festivals and it's not the same.
No.
Only the robot game during the regional event, no innovation project presentation. Nope, it's the whole shebang all over again. So it's going to be a little bit longer day, but same thing. You're gonna have 3 robot games, 1 practice round, and a 30-minute judging session. It put it in my survey. Oh, I put it in my survey, but it doesn't seem fair that teams can just gobble up all the additional practice sessions, leaving some teams with no opportunity. It would seem fair that there's a limit so that everyone has an opportunity for additional practice at the QT, not just the teams who show up at the gate before the venue opens. Mary, let us know what event that was at, and so we can give that feedback to them that they should limit practice. It's generally a rule of thumb that we only allow them to sign up for 2 at a time, and they have to wait for everyone else to sign up for 1 or 2, and then they can sign up for additional 1. But just let us know, and we can let that qualifier know. Price for regional registration, it's $175 if you're paying with Zelle. If you're paying through PayPal, it's $180 for Explore. Forgot what Explore was.
75 and 80.
75 and 80. Thank you, Jared. Do we have to pay right away with the registration link in order to secure a spot? It's preferred you do it that way because we'll only give you a couple of days of grace. And if you don't, you'll lose your spot. We'll delete you and you'll have to re-register again. So don't let that happen to you because it happened to a couple of people at the QT level. And they were like, we thought we were registered. And I'm like, well, you didn't pay in time, so you got to re-register. So hopefully you can sort that out. Do we have to pay right? Oh, I just read that one. We brought our own board because we knew we needed to practice and we were absolutely willing to share, but I agree with Mary, the sign up to use boards was not done well. I feel like it should be done like darts. You just sign up for next in line, not signing up for 1 p.m. when it's 10 a.m. Yeah, noted. Let us know what QT that was at.
Part of that is also your core values and your gracious professionalism. You know, if your team is doing that, then it doesn't look very good to the judges either. So make sure you guys keep that in mind as well.
And feedback gets around. So all the volunteers, they have a way of getting all of that connected back, and it may impact your score at the end of the day. So, well, not your score, your rank. And it unfortunately has impacted ranks for some teams. Is there a way to know the robot game scores of different QTs? We're actually working on the robot game scores. Paul, how far are we on that?
I'm just getting everything together and we'll have that posted later this week.
So you guys get to see that. And that's just the game scores. No judging. That's off the table. Should the robot design score be highly correlated with the robot game score? Not at all. They're 2 separate things. Robot design is how you designed, and the robot game is the result of a good robot. So
also, the robot design is also how well your students can explain their design process, their code, their iteration. So it's more than the robot game.
And if they can't explain it and they have a really high score, that begs us to ask a lot of questions. Just FYI. So, yeah. Is there an adult head referee at each tournament that is for sure knowledgeable about the robot game rules? It seemed like almost all the robot game referees at QT were high school students, many of whom were not confident about the rules. Our team appealed a ref decision. The ref disagreed with them and they received that decision with grace. However, the decision was wrong. That's okay. A good experience and gracious professionalism. But we were wondering about the training for referees and who is considered authoritative. We expected the refs to know about the robot game rules well, better than the kids and coaches, but that did not seem to be the case. Let us know what QT that was at. We ask all of our, I did give one exception, so I wonder if it's from that one, but all of our head refs and head judges do need to be over the age of 25. So let us know what QT that was at and we can get that sorted.
But for those of you who encounter this kind of situation, there is a head ref at every event. So if the students have a problem with the ref at their table, they can always ask to speak to the head ref. And if you have a problem with an interaction with the head ref, you can go to the tournament director as well, and they know how to escalate further. So we really want things to be resolved that day on site at the event, and obviously we'll take this feedback and do everything we can with it. But it's also hard to go back in time. And so I'm glad that in this case, like the students, took it as a good learning experience. But we for sure want to get it right during the event.
Definitely. And then all of the head tournament directors have our cell phone numbers. So if it's an absolutely big thing, they will contact us. And we'll try to get it resolved. Is there a voucher offer for site payment? I'm not sure what you mean.
Not
by
for
that.
regionals.
Yeah, okay. Fairly niche question. I'm a brand new coach and my background check isn't finished. Our main coach I'm so sorry, had a death in their family. I'm concerned that the registration email will go to his email, but he's not going to see it. Will the email come to both of us or just him? I don't want us to miss out, but I can't ask him to dig and find it for me either. Felicity, go ahead and email us and we'll try to help you with that situation. Is it still 5 teams advancing from each tournament? Yes, to champions. Poway High only allowed 1 adult during judging. Could you please let them know to allow 2 during regionals? Okay, I will let them know. Which locations will have both Explore and Challenge? Sorry if this already been asked. Every spot will have both if enough teams sign up for Explore. If there's not at least, I think 4 or 5.
Probably 5 or 6, yeah. And
Yeah.
La Cañada Saturday currently does not have a festival.
Yep. So there'll be 9 locations for you to choose from. Are judges aware of the age group of the team that they are judging? We ask the judges not to ask for ages. If they do, or they might assume, but we ask them not to include age in their criteria of figuring out the level of what the students are presenting. Bosco Tech QT was very well run and on schedule all day. Super encouraging. Awesome. You are giving them an amazing head start. Yes. Newbie here. How do I access the hub? Is that our dashboard? No, your first dashboard is not your hub. Your first dashboard is where you register for first, and then the event hub is everything event specific. Reach out to your tournament director. You should have gotten an email from them with an introduction and see if they can resend your event hub invitation. You have 72 hours to accept that invitation and get registered in. And then if for some reason that doesn't work out, make sure you're using the same email that you're using for your dashboard. If it's not the same, it's not going to link together and you won't get in. So that might be the issue.
Also, you will get another email for your regional event. So be on the lookout for that as well, and make sure you accept that one as well.
Yes. Is audio recording not allowed in judging session either? We ask that no recording of any kind happen in the judging rooms, audio or video. And there's the Event Hub dashboards, that Event Hub, not dashboard, the Event Hub site. But you do need an active invitation to even get in. So you still need to reach out to your tournament director. Will registration open up for both Explore and Challenge tonight? Yes. Sorry if this was mentioned before, but how many teams from each regional location go to championships? The magic number is 5. And yes. Our coach who registered for the QT is able to access the hub, but I cannot. I am the second coach in the team. Is that how it's supposed to be? Yes.
Yes, only one coach. We can only put one coach into the hub. So you have to rely on that first coach to get you the information, get you the results.
When I think about this, it doesn't demonstrate core values. Okay. That was relating to the team signing up on the practice field. I get that they're penalized that way, but doesn't change the fact that some teams don't get the chance to practice as much. We'll take that as a feedback item and maybe discuss it with our tournament directors on how to handle that situation and give direction and guidance to the practice table attendants to only allow certain time slots per team. And we'll hopefully it'll be better at regionals for everyone. The people who judge core values more oftentimes than not hear almost everything. The judges hear everything that happened at the event, even though they're not even anywhere near the event. We just have a really solid way of getting that feedback stuff around. We are a new team. Warner was our first QT. Overall, was very organized, happy with it, and grateful to have had a chance to compete. One piece of feedback: on 2 of the 3 robot games, our team was overscored and received points for completing missions that weren't actually completed. Our team informed the ref, who removed only some of the errantly awarded points. The ref wouldn't update lower the final precision token count, even though our team picked up the bot a few times and picked up a mission item during the game, saying that there's no penalty for those actions. Seems to be a ref training issue. I'll add it to the feedback form as well. I stepped back far and let my team talk with the ref, so if there might be a little something lost in translation, but I know that score was still inflated. Thank you. Yep. So we can take that back to the QT and let them know, but I'm glad, you know, the kids were able to try to navigate that. And good core values for the team that they're trying to get their right score. It's definitely always a good thing. But yes, we will take that item. If our team did not qualify for this QT, is there another one we can compete in? So the QTs are the gateway into the official season. If you didn't compete at the QT, or if you didn't qualify past beyond the QT, you can compete in Spring Showdown, which will be early May next year. And there will be an email sometime in December or at the end of the year when regionals are over, that there'll be an email with info sent out from Paul on that. One other comment question: why can't the team administrator listed on the first dashboard invite kids to the team to print the roster? For our groups this year, I've acted as the organizer and the person who took care of the administrative task. Is there a way to give that feedback to first? Also,
can I take this one?
Yes.
Great. The naming of the roles in the first dashboard are not intuitive. Team administrator, think of like a school administrator, like a principal or someone in a business office that you want to have some limited access to your team. The word administrator does not mean they have the most access. What you want to do is make your person a lead mentor 1 or lead mentor 2. Those are going to be the only people who have all of the access to do everything you want. The team administrator is like someone who can add more adult contacts if a teacher leaves a school or something, but they're really not going to have day-to-day access with the team.
Yep. And the event hub only allows us to do 1 coach, and that's usually the head coach, number 1. So, technical question regarding the anglerfish challenge. Does this yellow latch need to be fully down? In other words, does the yellow lever need to move fully past the yellow latch so that the latch is down? What if the yellow latch is in that intermediate stage sitting on top of the yellow lever? Hope this question makes sense.
I'm looking it up.
I don't have the rule book in front of me.
While Paul's looking it up, I'll just share that my team had this exact debate today and with the referees at the tournament who were very gracious in explaining their interpretation of the rules, but I won't share it while Paul finds the correct answer here.
So the interpretation I have is the anglerfish is latched within the shipwreck. Latched means the anglerfish is inside the wreck and the yellow lever is past the hanging yellow latch.
Past the hanging yellow latch.
Past.
Hope that answers your question. All right, saw some ref training issue as well. One table started the match with the artificial habitat fully upright. Another team got precision token taken away for touching outside home area before the timer started. Let us know. That should have been something the team should have addressed with the referee and escalated if that wasn't rectified. But let us know what QT that was at and we can let them know. One suggestion, if you could provide the full actual name of the school, each QT regional location would be helpful. Okay, noted. We can do that. So sometimes, just a little side thing on that, sometimes the QT name is not representative of where it's hosted because usually the venue changes. For instance, San Dieguito's location was not in San Diego High. It was
in the San Diego
Canyon
district.
Yeah, so hence why sometimes that varies. Sometimes it is, the Poway QT is at Poway High School. And sometimes it just doesn't correlate. Francis Parker is at Francis Parker High School. But we will try to be a little bit more diligent on giving you the full location name with the name of the event.
I will try updating that on the form, but give me time. It will not be done before it's released.
There is another unofficial tournament at the Del Mar Fair at the summer. Kids will be able to also see some FTC and FRC teams, and they're much larger robots. Yes, there's quite a few off-season events. They're not hosted by us, so your mileage may vary. So yeah, and some events have multiple first leagues included. Some have some and not the others. So definitely, yeah, take a look at different things that you can have your team do. Can you let us know which locations last year had low registration and ended up canceled for Explore?
None got canceled. They all went on last year. There are right now 180 spots for Explore teams. So we expect that all of them are going to be filled.
Okay. Is there any change in theme for regional round? No.
No.
We also noticed some ref trainings at Van Nuys, the FTC team perhaps. Everyone was very sweet, but one ref was asking our team to leave the table before giving them any scoring. Thanks. And one ref only when asked went over the scoring missions from memory without referring to the score sheet. Good to know. We will let them know that. All right. Do judges at the regionals read and factor in the feedback from the qualifiers? For example, if the judges at the qualifiers mentioned elements in innovation project to improve on, will the new regional judges be looking for those elements? No, absolutely not. Each time you go in front of a panel of judges, they're only allowed to judge you on what they see and what you say on that day. We cannot use prior days, or because sometimes some judges volunteer throughout the season multiple times. We also ask for them not to use any prior things that they have seen or heard from any of the teams from prior days. They can only use what is delivered to them at that day. So keep that in mind. Yes.
That said, it's it's pretty likely that the judges will ask your team a question about what they've done to improve the different elements of their team, their project, their robot since their last event. So the team might choose to offer that up. At our qualifier, we did really well in this area and not as well in this area, and here's what we fixed. But as Sarah said, judges are only looking at the material they received that day.
Yep. Does table referee need to be above 25? No, they do not need to be above 25. For the innovation and robot design presentation, there are kind of subjective to minimize the bias. Shall we take into account of the ranks and scores from qualifying rounds when considering the advanced teams and regional count round? No, so the regional scores or rankings will only be what's at the regional. They will not include the qualifier ranking and or scores from the robot game. It'll be as if it's a brand new tournament and everything is from a fresh, clean slate. Okay, just a guess. I don't think so. In fact, sometimes our team's iteration actually seems to set the team back in a new judge's eyes, but it would count as iteration if presented to the judges as such. Yeah, depends on how the team presents it. But if it's presented as an iteration versus as this is a weakness, typically judges take it as that. We were taking a look at the rubrics. There are conflicting rubrics to the judges' feedback, all in the hub for innovation projects. They need to improve communication in project, and then say great communication by all team members and judges' feedback. High Tech High North County was hosting this event for the first time. How are these locations vetted? Schools hosting for the first time affect teams who put in a lot of effort into the QT. Overall, the day of the event can be vastly improved. Not sure.
So on the beginning part of that about the comments, and it sounds like the comments and the scores on the rubric don't totally line up. Like my response to that, which I know is not going to be totally satisfying, is just that people are human and might not maybe your understanding of one of the items is different from the judge's understanding of the item of what they're scoring on exactly. I would definitely listen to the comments because that is in the judge's own words, where sometimes the language that first puts on the rubric are not universally understood the same way by everyone. And really, like with all of this, don't take any one piece of feedback too seriously and take it all in an aggregate. And again, use that rubric as a tool to see what are the areas of greatest strength and what are the opportunities for the most improvement, rather than trying to pick apart line by line, because it will be a frustrating process no matter what that rubric says, if you really get that granular into the detail. And I'll let someone else speak to the other item about the venues.
So the venues are vetted, like they have to shadow an event the year before. They have to shadow it from the setup all the way through. They have volunteers in. They all have to go through judges training, tournament director training. So I'm sorry that the flow of the event didn't go the way you wanted. Definitely put that feedback in so we can have that for next year. On a note about core values, I was at several events over the last couple of weeks, and I know a lot of teams got their core values marked down and took them from what should have been championship, first place, down to 7th place or lower because the students or coaches or families were arguing with referees. They were cussing. They were, every time they might knock over a mission, they were cussing or yelling that it wasn't the table's fault. It was the table's fault. It was the event's fault. The students are responsible when they have that 2 minutes to get their robot set up, to check that table to make sure things are set and the missions are set appropriately. I know many times this season so far, I've heard of teams being knocked down because of their core values. So make sure you check and make sure you remind your teams that core values aren't only in the judging room. They're not even only at the table, those two, it's the whole day. It's from the time you step out of the car, at the practice table, where you're walking around. It might be your parents. It might be anything that is going to look bad to somebody. And there are a lot of volunteers walking around that give feedback to the volunteers, to the judge advisor, to the tournament director. So please, please, please make sure you remind your whole entire families and your students to be wareful of their core values. And if they need to use bad words, and if your team's allowed to use cuss words, make sure they don't do it in an event, because it does get noted.
Oh, it does. It
Yeah.
does. Right. On to the next. Van Nuys also did a great job for staying on time. Awesome. In the events hub, we see the judging scores, but no feedback comments. Are the comments optional and up to the judges to be given, or should we expect them to be non-empty? So there might have been a glitch where two people were touching the same file at the same time and overwrit some stuff. Reach out to your tournament director and see if they can revive those comments from their judges. And we're trying to figure out on the first side how they can fix that. So hopefully that works out. Will some locations have fewer sign up than others, or all 40? We expect all of them to be at 40. And QTs, we were at capacity or over capacity at almost all QTs minus El Centro and San Luis Obispo, but that's because they're the furthest out. So judges should provide feedback. Sometimes they forget or have issues with the event hub and their notes are not recorded. Thank you, Claudio. Is there an FLL Cup this year? We do not have an FLL Cup hosted this year. Last year, there wasn't a lot of signups, and so we rolled that into Spring Showdown. To host events, it's a lot of work. It's also during FRC and FTC's peak season, and therefore we don't have a lot of volunteers at hand and available to help run these events for us. So we unfortunately are not going to host that this year, but we will have Spring Showdown. And if that means we have to have 4 venues for Spring Showdown, then we'll do the 4 venues because more people are available during that time. A ref interrupted a run when checking that attachments were in base when starting. Can we also include that in training? Best methods to check without interrupting the team's process. My kids didn't bring it up with the ref and restarted their programs, but it did shake them even though the attachment was in base. Definitely can use that as a teaching moment. Sheila, let us know what QT that was at so we can let them know.
And there are times that the ref will do that because from their perspective, it may look like it's out. And if it's out, they have to stop the run. You cannot run the robot at that time. So sometimes that is going to happen just because of perspective.
Yeah. Well, the overall, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that's one of those opportunities where the rules encourage teams to make things really obviously legal and not borderline so that the ref doesn't have to interrupt in that scenario, which I know is not possible for every team every time.
Will the overall event track ranking be shown or just the robot game? Just robot game. We don't have the ranks for the judging recorded or shown anywhere. Thank you for this. I have to put my child. Oh, you're welcome. Let's see. Ask this question on Slack for the anglerfish. It's the position of the yellow latch determines the success. It doesn't matter where the fish is at. Okay. Is High Tech High Mesa hosting the event for the first time? No, High Tech High
Kathy?
Mesa was one of our veteran venues.
They've hosted for 15 years.
If a team member touches krill or coral reef outside of home but didn't touch the robot, does the team lose precision token?
Not necessarily lose a precision token, but They're not supposed to touch any of the models outside of home during the 2.5-minute run. So it's possible that they're going to be told to stop, bring their robot back, and that will cause a precision token loss. So indirectly, it could be.
Good point. I confirmed I forgot to register to the Event Hub link and has expired. My tournament director seems to be slow to respond to emails. We got a Motivate award, but no response to my emails on certificates. Okay, he sent an email to us.
Okay.
All right. High Tech High is hosting almost every year. Yes. Will I receive an email for each team that is advancing? There's a hiccup at Valencia. I just want to know which one of my 5 teams are advancing. Ooh.
Email me offline and I could check the numbers for you. But no, it's going to be one email that goes out.
Newbie again, my team won the Engineering Excellence Award, and I was wondering how far is the Engineering Excellence Award from the Champions Award? Oh God. Trying to gauge where to focus for regionals. Kathy, you want to take this one? It's your favorite award.
Sure. The definition, and congratulations on your team for getting an award. The definition of that award, it is very vague, and as a region, we have been arguing with FIRST to change the definition because it does sound like runner-up champion. It's just the verbiage that FIRST uses. But your team should be really proud for getting any award. But we are, and many other partners are trying to get FIRST to change that verbiage, just to prevent the confusion for the future.
Yeah. So it doesn't really tell you how close you are, but you were up on the.
Yeah,
you
got an award,
highlighted.
so.
Yes.
And we can share because it's a public process. You can find this deep in PDFs on the FIRST website. But the way that awards are allocated is first we allocate the Champions Award, then we allocate the core award areas. So that's the first place project award, the first place core values award, and the first place robot design award. And then we allocate those additional awards that some documents call the optional awards. And that's kind of the process we follow for that. But that Engineering Excellence Award does require a team to be well-rounded in all 3 judged areas. So that is going to be a pretty strong team, despite that kind of pecking order there.
Yes.
Everyone in a team t-shirt is representative of your team. Also, anyone that those people in those t-shirts talk to that is not another team is also representative of your team. Just because your parents aren't wearing team t-shirts doesn't mean that they're not included. They are representative of your team, and we can kind of figure out whose parents.
And parents yelling at kids when they're coming out of judging rooms is never good.
Don't do it.
Students yelling at other students for answering a question wrong is never good. There's always people that see things. So just being mindful.
I was at a Sunday event at the High Tech High North County. It was well run. They did a great job. And I've been doing this for 10 years. Great work. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
A feedback during judging session, there was no time allocated for the team to transition from project to robot design presentation. So the judges counted the setup time as part of the presentation and they cut the kids off early as a result. I just think it makes sense to allocate some setup time between the 2 presentations to allow the kids have ample time to get ready.
So the judges in this case did what they were supposed to do. The way that our flow chart is set up is there's 2 minutes at the very beginning for all of the setup that doesn't count towards that time, and then the 5-minute presentation clock for the project is a hard 5 minutes. Then there's the project Q&A, and then it does immediately go into the 5-minute robot design explanation time without an additional setup time. We can take this as feedback for the region and see maybe we can look at if we want to split that 2 minutes up into 1 and 1 or something. We'll definitely talk about it.
Yep.
But in this case, I do think that the judges were following the training they were supposed to be. And that's how it will continue to be for the rest of the season because we don't want to change things midstream here.
And as well, I know at World, if they get moved on to another Open or Worlds, it is that way. There's not transition time in between judging sessions, so that's why we run it. But we can definitely take that feedback. I mean, I really like that because the last thing we want kids to do is be stressed out transitioning.
Yep. There's also confusion about height equipment height requirement from the ref. It should be under the 12-inch height limit during equipment check only. Correct. Yes. Can robots run into the wall outside of home during a match as a squaring strategy? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. The only official. Oh, okay. Will we have 2 awards per category in regionals at the regionals? I believe
Yes.
so.
Paul, do you want to
Yes.
discuss why we went down to our qualifiers the way
Yeah,
we
so
did? It's been a big question.
So what's happening with the awards is we found that First now has the 5 core awards, champions, the 3 judges awards, and the performance. And then they have the 5 optional, or what we're calling certificated awards, which are engineering excellence, motivate, rising all-star, breakthrough. And so when you count up all those awards, there's 10 awards. If we give 2 per category, that's 20 awards that are being given out. And when a region or a QT only has 24 teams at it, then 4 teams walk away with nothing. And that doesn't seem right or fair. So we made the decision to only give out 10 awards at the event. Since regionals will have 40 teams, then it does justify putting 2 per category so that 20 awards are given out.
I'm trying to get my event hub password reset. I'm not getting the reset email and I've checked spam. Is there a way to fix this? That reset password link will come from your tournament director, or if you're going to register for regionals, you'll get a reset link for that as well. Just keep an eye on your inbox. Are we allowed to bring our own practice tables to regionals? Happy to share with other teams. That's a tournament director question. Some venues will have space for those, some will not. And we don't know that ahead of time. It's up to the tournament director's discretion or the venue, if the venue is very strict on certain policies that they have to adhere to. So that would be a question to ask to your tournament director once you get the welcome email from them. And I'm at the bottom of questions. Or feedback.
There are questions in the Q&A also.
Oh, fancy. Okay.
Oh.
There are not as many as in the chat. Well,
I will
maybe there are.
migrate over there.
Yeah.
Please send a link on how to apply to be a volunteer judge referee. Thank you, everyone. So you can apply right now to be a referee or a judge in your first dashboard. So you go to volunteering. It's one of the tabs on your first dashboard. You go to volunteer at an event, drill down to first LEGO League challenge or explore, and you can directly apply to anything that's in your area. You can filter it out to be within 20, 30, 50, 100 miles of your location. You can put your zip code in there and it'll let you know what venues are available. Trying to reset my password of the Event Hub. It says it's sending me an email, but I'm not getting it. I checked spam already. Can you help?
If you're having troubles, send me an email, and with what QT, your team number, what QT you went to, and we'll see what we can do with that.
Yep. And then I believe I just answered this question about the practice tables at regionals. Is it possible to see the scores of other teams competed on other days? We're setting that up shortly. We will send that out. I would like to ask, can you give our team another chance to participate in the competition? The kids really want to do it again this year because it's the first time they really weren't ready for it on 11/2. We will have Spring Showdown. If they didn't advance to a regional, they can compete again in the spring for Spring Showdown. How can we have access to the award that our team received during the QT? We would like to print it for all the team members. See if you can get the certificate from your tournament director. They have access to those. If they don't respond to you, then you can email myself, Kathy, and Paul.
Did you not receive your certificate at your event?
This is from Tinker.
Get the certificate at the event we won an award.
They did receive the certificate. It was one certificate for the student. We wonder if it's possible to have the student's name and give it to them that they can keep it.
So they want to
Yeah.
make it for all their team members.
Yeah.
So, are you able to copy it? Are you able to make a copy of it?
Can and then add names.
In that case, it wouldn't be like any name added. You just have a one copy that we have received, because in handwritten the name of the team and the number of the team, but it wouldn't be for that student.
So the certificates that we have are only for the team. If you want to scan the one that you got and edit it to add the team name and then reprint that out with the team member's name, that would be the way to go, because you would have to still do that with the digital form, because the forms that we have are at the team level, not at the student level.
There is available from First a participation certificate that has all of the branding for the season, and it's digital and you can customize it however you want. So I will send a link in the chat in case you want to write in the name of your kid and the name of the award on that.
Yes, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
All right, so how many teams advance from regionals to the next round? 5. Will I receive an email for each team that is advancing? There's a hiccup. Oh, Brian already sent that to
Already
you.
got that one.
Yep. We are a first-year team. Can you explain how we register for a regional event?
So in about 5 minutes here, even if this meeting's not over, I am going to be hitting my send button. You will receive an email with a link. It is a JOT form, just like we did for QTs, but it's a different form. And you fill that out. Make sure you know which event you want to go to, because we will not make changes. Once you submit that form, you will get an invoice for a challenged team for $180 for the tournament. It'll link you hit a button to link to PayPal, and you will pay for it. After that, you'll receive a receipt, and that is verification that you got into the event.
All right. Only our lead coach mentor 1 is getting emails. Can the lead coach mentor 2 be sent the registration email tonight, since the lead coach 1 mentor is at a work event tonight? Probably not.
No.
You're gonna have to wait for that guy or girl or lady or man, whoever, to come back from work. Unfortunately. How many judges will there be for the innovation presentation?
At most events, at all events, you will have one judging session that covers all of the areas, including the project. And at most events will have 3 judges in the room for that. Some may have 2 or 4.
How do we pay for tournament if we have a Qualcomm grant? Is there a way to use those funds? No, you cannot use those funds. Oh, these are old questions from September.
I think those questions are from September. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Sarah, there's some new ones in the chat.
Gotcha. That's crazy. I didn't know it saved it from the other events. Or the other
I think
meetings.
we can mark later that we answered them and then they'll go away.
Good point.
Go up to usage of boxes.
Yeah, usage of boxes the same size and shape as home area for inspection. 12 inches high is not consistent across venues. They make inspection faster, but some refs are not okay with them. Noted.
There is a
Um,
recommended device for events to use to do that inspection, and many of them are doing that. So hopefully we'll encourage the rest to do it as well.
Great tournament at High Tech High in San Marcos. Caroline was awesome. Thank you all for volunteering and answering my questions. You're very welcome. If robot is running in the home area, can team member touch it and realign it without stopping the run? For example, put a delay before and after realignment, but still within a single launch. As long as it doesn't cross out of home, you're
Actually,
fine.
and Sarah, the actual ruling on that, because this has been a debatable thing for a long time, but the robot must be fully stopped for you to touch it. If it's in motion, you cannot touch it. But if it's fully stopped in the home area, you may realign it and then it may start up again. So a delay, yes, but it must be fully stopped position before you can touch it.
Did not know that. That's good to know. Certificates are available on the FLL resources. Yep, if you know where that's at on the first web page on the front end. There's the first LEGO League resource page with all of the stuff. It's also there too. But Jared just linked it. At Warner QT, we did not receive a physical award certificate. Were we supposed to? Yeah, if you
won an award.
If you want to motivate breakthrough, engineering excellence, and all-star award, those are the certificate awards. If you want another award, those are trophy awards. So if you got a trophy, you're not getting a certificate. Warner QT certificates will be sent out tonight. Perfect. Okay. Our robot seems to swerve sometimes at the beginning. Of a run, seemingly randomly. It doesn't do it all the time. Any ideas why it does that, or ideas how to fix that? You know, that's a great question for the Facebook community and or the Slack page we have with coaches. That could probably help iron out why. Best of luck to you. Our funding comes from RBUSD. Their financial officer pays for tournaments, but we get a 10-day grace period to pay before we lose our slot. If you email us telling us that there's a school situation and payment is coming, we will hold your spot. That's if it's not on you, we won't hurt you for that.
Just communicate with us. We're
Let
good.
us know.
And
we'll
you
put a
should
little star.
You should complete the first part of the registration so that you secure your spot at your
Yes.
event. And then once you receive that invoice and submit it to the school, that's when you can send that email. But if you miss that initial registration, then your first come, first serve opportunity is gone.
Yes. Thank you, Jared. Paul just said the robot must be fully stopped in home before touching it. Does that mean at the end of a run as well, or just before it exits home to start a run?
If you're doing it between runs, yes, but if it comes in, you pick it up to make adjustments and put it back down, that's fine.
Can you explain where that rule is stated? Because in the rules, it just says it has to be completely in the home before touching it. It does not say anything about stopping.
The ruling has to do with if you have one program, it comes back in and then goes back out on the same program. Because what people are doing is even if it's in motion, they're trying to adjust it. And so they're saying to do any adjustment, it has to be fully stopped. But instead of having to write two separate programs, you can do it as one program as long as it's stopped. Otherwise, yeah, the ruling stands.
Where
Is
the
there a
Rule
pa-
13 says technicians may use their hands on the robot and equipment mission models when these are completely in their home area, period. Doesn't say anything about stopping or anything.
Yes, but if the robot's in the same program, you can't. So what's happening is a lot of teams, the robot is coming in and they're moving it while it's still in motion and then having it go back out, and that can't happen. It's supposed to be stopped. It's called
For which
launch
rule?
and relaunch.
Yeah, when launching the robot, you can't keep it from moving as you launch it. Okay.
Right.
Awesome. Is there a page to view the scores of other teams computed at the QT? Yes, that will be up shortly.
I mean, this week.
End of this week?
Coming into this week.
Yeah. Zell information is available on the form, correct?
Zell information, you need to email us for Zell information.
Okay. Yep. FLO. Oh, that's funny. Someone responded the same way I did. To the swerve issue. Has the registration link been sent?
Just was.
Yes. Let's see. Okay. Hi, our team got a Motivate award when we get those certificates. You should have gotten a Teamist certificate at your event. If not, if you were at the Warner event, David's sending them out shortly. And then if you want to print team specific event, team member specific certificates, was a mouthful. There's a link up above in the chat that Jared had posted, or you can look on the first LEGO League resource page. There's a bunch of cool things you can use for your team. Can Zell information be put in the chat so we're not delayed in making the payment?
Yes, let me look it up.
Isn't it the email?
I thought it was our joint email. It's our Gmail.
Yeah. We'll get that to you shortly. All right. It's almost 9. We do thank you guys for all your feedback items and everything. Definitely helps us become better and better every year. And every year is different because there's different things that come through the pipeline that we may not have thought of. So we definitely appreciate everyone's thoughts and concerns. It helps us see things that we don't normally see or wouldn't normally see from a coach's view or a team member's view. So that helps. And yeah, so as soon as Paul sends that Zell info, we'll let you guys all go, and good luck at your regionals, and pick a date that you are not going to want to change because it's not going to change.
Please confirm with your team members, your parents, so there's no games or holidays or parties or anything that you're going to feel like you need to change for.
The email should be the email that was sent out. The form is for both Explore Festival and regional tournaments. I don't know why it didn't say that. It should have. Oh.
Well, they're coming in. Good job, y'all.
Speedy.
They are speedy.
All right, I gotta pop off really quick.
All right.
Sorry, I know you guys are all getting off. If we're not sure, I know we got the email, but again, we didn't get the list from our competition.